And what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? And another day in the stock market. What did you guys think? Hopefully, you guys aren't in and out and getting chopped up in this crazy bond fiasco. But before we get started, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So, I'm keeping this short and sweet. Essentially, what everything is going on is about the bonds in the rates. I guess there's been rumor floating around that they expected Jerome Powell to come out and essentially extend the bank's essential capital, right, so that they could go out and buy bonds at the end of the month. That was the expectation coming into today when Jerome Powell was speaking today. But of course, he stuck to his guns and reiterated much what he has been saying. The market digested that, and they did not like that today. The market did pop a little bit back up when he was speaking, but then again, once the full digestion took place, it just sold off again. But there's some interesting things. The market did pop. The market broke out of a channel, out of a trend today during this whole speech. Once the digestion was going through, and then it popped back into the channel just before close. But that being said, the bonds in itself are kind of holding right now. They're not quite at the lows of last week's, but they are getting there. But being said, this is all essentially been because of the bond rates, right? The world in itself, bonds are huge just for the world in general. But being said, yeah, that's where we're at. And you can tell whenever the bonds stabilize, the fact that the market starts to push up very fast. We do have a very strong market. But being said, essentially the bonds are holding it down, and there are some dramatic moves in the bonds, which is causing everything to flip back and sell off again. But being said, and actually just speaking, let me just go pull this up because the bonds just pumped up as I am talking. I am actually recording this at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, so the market's been closed just for a little while. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. As I'm talking about this, look what just happened. Bonds just popped back up. It's a good sign. It means the market's going to start pushing up. I was hoping this would gap up overnight. This dramatic, this big candle, the market was actually looking good coming in today. You can actually watch the market since bonds were pretty stable. And then just before Jerome Powell came on, it flushed and the market fell right along with it. Market was started selling off quite a bit upon the digestion of the information of Powell. Again, just reiterating what he was saying. But being said, once it stabilized here, the market started pushing back up and then sold off. But now it looks like the bonds, I talked about this last week too. We had this little mini flash here last Tuesday, and this was bought up. And I watched this candle. This candle was seconds. It dropped down to the 160 or the 136 here. It was bought up quickly, reattempted, bought up quickly again. Then been pushing up and been kind of trading sideways. The market was doing good here on this more stabilization, this push up. But again, good to see the bonds pop up. But it is critical that this does tend to push up because of the fact, right? It's just the market sentiment right now. People are worried about inflation. Powell is reiterating that he's not going to push it up. It's going to be a long time. We have to take everything into consideration. The lower class needs to be taken into consideration, that we can't just press forward and start raising rates right now because people still need help. We aren't 100%. We are far from that, from what Powell is saying. Being said, you can tell that Powell has a lot of frustration in his speeches. But being said, it's good to see bonds. My only concern is if this bond we might play a lot of March like this. So you may get chopped up a lot, right? That's why I'm in. I think I have like one leap, and I have mainly shares at this point because of this fact. Because we are, and I've been doing a lot of intraday scalping because of the fact that we're going to have a lot of whipsaw, and that's what you've been seeing is a lot of whipsaw because the bonds are trying to stabilize. They're trying to get that bond yield corrected. Again, it's the markets. They were expecting something this morning. They didn't get what they wanted from Powell, so the bonds just fell off. It seems a lot of the big money has been moving to value stocks. That's why you're seeing a lot of value stocks hold well. There's also some tech that is still holding well. I think because the PEs on a lot of techs are decent right now, where you have stocks like Tesla and Apple where the PE is ridiculously high, and they've been taking bigger hits than you have been typically seeing. It's this normalization process. So if the PE on even techs, I've noticed if it's legitimate, the tech has been holding, but value stocks have definitely been holding really well. For the most part, airlines and everything have actually still been pushing up quite a bit. But being said, it's good to see, again, bonds. This might change. Again, I'm recording this at 5:40 Eastern Standard Time. So there's a lot going on with this. So this is our main key in what we need to pay attention. I'm sure you've heard everything about the bond rates, and you've been hearing about inflation ever since money's been getting pumped in. Everybody gets it, right? Powell is printing money. Yes, the cause and concern of inflation and everything is there, but he keeps reiterating the same message. Again, towards the end of the month is going to be extremely important. If they do decide to not worry about banks having to have so much money on hand, which is essentially the contract that was written during the start of the pandemic last March. It ends at the end of the month. Being said, that's what the concern is right now. Is that contract going to be extended? What is going on with that contract? That's why the bond market is getting really rattled at the current moment. Again, but being said, everything is strong. Everything is pointing strong. And what I have noticed, in my opinion, is that a lot of stocks value, even tech. There's a lot of tech that's not big. You see tech, even like Facebook, is holding very well. It's just Apple and Tesla. Apple is actually holding a range pretty well. Tesla finally broke down a little bit further today, but it isn't. Let me bring up Tesla. It did break down a little bit further, so it did break the original support. But being said, the valuation on here was bad. So with the bonds and everything that's going on, if the valuation was extremely high, then yeah, I think a lot of these high evaluated stocks are going to get hit the worst, aka Tesla. But being said, the market itself, this is what I talked about today. The market was looking good, and then Powell spoke, and it cracked. It actually held here really well when the bonds were stabilized, and then the market digested it, and it just sold off. But again, picked right back up and pushed it right back into here before close today, which was a good sign in my mind, because I think if we would have stayed below that, we probably would have seen some wicked selling tomorrow. Again, tomorrow is take profit, although we've had kind of just a dip and then a rip towards the end of the day on the Fridays is something I've noticed. But being said, we'll have to see how this plays out. But ultimately, I think what is going to happen is we have to see what the bonds do overnight. If the bonds shoot up overnight, again, the 10-year bond here, it looks like, again, it's pushed back up. Hopefully, we get some movement back up to the upside. If that does happen, we could gap up overnight, which would be a plus for all those swing traders out there. And I know a lot of people have been getting chewed up with this sideways action. Buying short-term contracts does not help you during this. Again, I do trade short-term, but it's intraday. I don't swing in this market. In this market, I haven't swung anything that was short-term. Everything has been a leap, if it is an option or shares. But being said, so bonds, extremely important right now. Again, you look at everything. Obviously, VIX has been going nuts because of what's been going on today. Gold and silver have been dying off. Bitcoin has been dying. Bitcoin's been playing kind of range. QQQ, it took a major hit today. but we need to, even looking at the daily, there's a lot of stocks that are getting to a point to where a lot of stocks are hitting the 200. I know QQQ still got a while, but it hit a solid support here today. That's what this box is for. So I originally had it for was the solid support here. So it is hitting a solid support here. So I think no matter, maybe we have another week of selling. It is March. We have to see how this plays out. But ultimately, it's starting to get in that buy zone for QQQ. Everything's taken a big hit. End of February, these past couple of weeks has just been really bad. I know there's a lot of people that have gotten chewed up from that. I have gotten chewed up a little bit, but my swings were more long term. I've tried to hold off, but I've been buying back because I think we're at the end of it. Being said, I'm not in anything that's going to get essentially chewed up. I'm not in short-term contacts that I'm swinging. Looking long-term projection here, but again, Tesla, it's not looking strong. It's looking pretty bearish, to be honest. I have to see what Kathy Woods purchased today after hours. That report doesn't come out till 7, but ultimately, I think Tesla, it's got autonomy. It's got all kinds of. I mean, the fundamentals are there for Tesla. The PE ratio on this guy is way up there. You're projecting, many years in advance for this price, the prices that we've seen. But being said, I think it'll turn around eventually. Here, we'll start leveling off. Once the bonds get corrected, I think everything is just going to start pushing. You've seen that as soon as the bonds stabilize, everything does dramatically push up. And I'm not just talking about big tech. I've seen it in a lot of mid-cap stocks and even some low-cap stocks. And some stuff is still holding. So that's something to keep in mind. So it's not just the whole market is going down, right? Right now we're just trying to find stability is what it is. And the bonds aren't stable. Once the bonds become stable, I think everything will start correcting and pushing back up. But being said, it's just a correction. It's not a crash, in my opinion. I know that's all you hear is crash, but at this point, it's just a correction. This is normal. Just dealing with it and being patient, right? Just patient, give it time. Don't get caught in the macro and the micro, right? Essentially in the day to day, right? Look at the long-term projection here ultimately, because that is what is going to matter. But being said, Tesla looking pretty bad. Square actually sold off quite a bit. There was some news on this as well. I guess they're getting in a contract with Jay-Z as well. I don't recall exactly what it was about, but Square is taking quite a bit of a beating, which is interesting. But it would be good. This is a stock that does have a cult following too, so I expect this one to jet as soon as everything starts getting back on par. Airbnb, I select this. I didn't take any plays today on Airbnb. I was watching it. I almost took it a couple different times. I really wanted to see what's going on with the market first. But yeah, still keeping that on watch. If we do pump tomorrow and pull back, I'll look to enter that. Again, I don't want to take too many positions right now. I have quite a few positions. I don't have a ton of positions. I have my high conviction stocks right now that are longer term swings right now. But being said, yeah, that's essentially where I'm at the moment. Apple, again, looks just like Tesla. Facebook is still holding. Like I said, the PE on this one is actually really good. I think it's pretty close to 20. I think it might be sitting at 22 or 20, somewhere around there. So the PE on this one's really good. That's why we haven't really seen any dramatic shakeups on here on this particular tech stock. So it's not just everything's going to get normalized, everything's going to crash, because if everything has good value, again, that what normally the money that would normally be going into the bond market is looking at other good buys right now, right? So you're seeing money getting flooded to value stocks and some tech, right? But ultimately, if there's good value in the stock, you're seeing that money move around to there. Then it's getting taken out of the bond market. That's what's making the dramatic drops in the bonds and causing everything else to just go haywire. But being said, BYND looks all right. Spot, not the greatest. I mean, you should probably look at most of these on the daily. Yes, even spots in that 200. So spots getting really close. Etsy could probably sell off more. Disney's a value. U's actually underneath the 200. I have to see how U does. Planter has been holding very well. As soon as there's any kind of sell-off in this, it jumps right back almost up to 25 every time, which is extremely strong strength. Again, I know Wall Street Bets kind of has this on their hit list. I don't know if that's what's holding it up, but as soon as the bonds stabilize, I think PL Planner is going to fly. Along with U, I think U's the same. A lot of these stocks, NNDM, same thing. So NNDM, same thing here. It's looking good, right? Like as soon as it sells off, like as soon as bonds stabilize, it pushes right back up. Fastly, pretty much the same. There's a slow like drip off is essentially what we're seeing. But again, as soon as bonds stabilize, they pop right back up. So Nanix, let's see. Planet 13, I did buy some more of this today once it dipped down into the zone. I am back in Planet 13. I'm trying to hold that for the year. Ultimately, I want to get through the summertime with Planet 13, if not longer. I think that is definitely a good buy purchase as of right now. The very good food company, still in this. We're just waiting for April. It is holding this. I did notice on the daily. We are creating this nice wedge here on the daily, which is good to see. So this looks like it could possibly lead us right into April, which we could break out, see highs of possibly that 743, 8, maybe even 10. I think it's the very good food company is going to do very well this year. Again, we're just trying to get through our current situation because in the market, there was always some kind of situation. It won't last forever. Not always. The odds are in our favor for the most part. The stock market does always go up in the long run. So time and patience are definitely key. Still on this one, we'll see what happens here. A lot of stuff again. Just waiting to see what happens with the bonds. Right, doesn't look bad. I know a lot of people have been doing oil. Oil pushed up today. Airlines, Bluebird is still holding very well. A lot of the EV stocks have just been getting pounded hard. Walmart is still selling off pretty bad. I wouldn't mind getting Walmart for the long run once we do stabilize with everything. Right now, it's just kind of waiting and seeing what stabilizes and then go from that point. Snow stabilizing for the most part. I mean, this is all bonds, really. I mean, they had earnings the other day too, but it's holding well. Other tech is holding pretty well for the most part. I mean, we don't get the dramatic drops. They're just slowly bleeding out. Lemonade is back under $100, which I didn't notice that. If this does get down to 40, I'll definitely be grabbing leaps in that. It's something to keep an eye on for sure. When it gets to that point, Bingo actually looks pretty good. Let's see where it is on the daily. Still down. If I could get it to the 4.4, that would be even better. We have to see if it will get that far. Microsoft, I don't trade Microsoft. I know a lot of people do. It's been a lot of stuff, chips with the chip makers. That whole space has been kind of hit hard from that too. Google's still holding well. That's what I'm saying. Like Google's still holding well. That tells you a lot about the market in general. Bob is selling off. I mean, a lot of these ones that like, let's see, Adobe selling off, Workhorse selling off, Twilio. Looks like it's finding some support there. Z selling off. Let's see, Rec. Saba still okay. Peloton, Altria, CPAC, Cint. Yeah, a lot of them are the same ultimately. I know WWE's still been holding very well. value stock. AMC started falling off a little bit. GME did have a pop today. I guess some tweet came out today. I don't know what the preface is of the tweet. It was just a picture, but that, I guess, caused it to pop, and then it's just been kind of holding. But yeah, I mean, there's still some stocks that are doing well. That being said, today's video is a little different because of the fact that we are waiting to see what is happening with the bonds. And until that happens, if you are intraday scalping, I think you could probably get some good scalps out of it. But aside from that, like if you're not a quick trader and you don't scalp, it's definitely just to sit on your hands and wait at this point, or else you'll get chopped up pretty good. Because the market doesn't know where it wants to go right now. Let's take one last look at the bonds before they close out too. That way we can kind of see where we're sitting here. It did sell back off, so it'd be interesting to see what happens overnight. Again, if we gap up, I could see us the market gap up as well, and then possibly sell off a little bit, and then hopefully continue to push towards the end of the day tomorrow. Again, tomorrow is going to be big on bonds, so keep that in mind. Watch bonds first thing in the morning. Essentially, take it easy. It is Friday. Take profit. Although I think a lot of people have just kind of sold out of positions, so there may not be a lot of taking profit tomorrow. Just play it safe and be mindful and manage risk. So until next time, guys, I will see you guys later.